Yo, what's good, everyone? Hope you're all doing well and smashing your week. I'm going to get into GU, my first trade of the week, which was on Monday, um, I believe, which was the 21st. I think that was Monday. Yeah, but this was a long that I took, and I just run through it, go through my thought process, and when to be looking, at our higher time frame areas, but not getting too fixated on just that area, and being aware we can still trade into that level. I think because once people see price coming in, say this order block or supply zone or up here, they just focus fully on the sell, when really there's a lot of opportunity coming into that level that we can take advantage of. So firstly, on the hourly, just zoom right in. We was looking for sells, so we had this area, we broke structure with that low, and we have this last up close candle here, and price came in, but we didn't get any sort of entry. And this move here isn't really a trend change. It's more so seeking a bit of liquidity from that high, and then tapping into an area here, which is another order block refined from that up close to this candle here, as we broke structure with that move down from that low there as well. So once price was coming up, it was this move here where I was looking along. I think it was here, just before this supply level here. So if I go down to the 15 and I just take it back to around there, so that's the supply zone or the hourly order block. And I've also put on a line here, so we have this 15-minute order block as well. Okay, so we have the last up close, and then we did see some nice momentum down that broke that low. So this was an area, that candle there, to be looking for shorts. So if I just go down to the 1 minute, now we know that we didn't get any entry. Okay, so that's the 15-minute point of interest at the order block, a bit of imbalance. And it's also, this move up has broken that high, so it's broke of structure, and this zone here is back to the hourly. So that zone is that order block, okay? So the hourly order block, which is also the lower high, okay? But as we came in, well, we failed short. We didn't come into that level. We failed to come, into that order block, and then we actually created this equal highs, and then we broke structure down with this move here, as you can see. Now I was around this level. I did mark on this area here, because you can see we broke structure up above this high. Okay, so we are still bullish, and I did set an entry at this area, and I did put it into Discord. Then price came down, we came back up, formed equal highs, and then we broke structure. And then you could be asking yourself, well, is this valid for a sell in this area here, because we've broken structure now, which it is. But once I see that we left this liquidity above here, so people are getting in sells from here, and if they're not in sells already, they're looking to get in sells from here, because back to the hourly, we're always referring back to the higher time frame. We are in that area where smart money and retail, they're looking to sell from this area. They might have a trend line in 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. They're looking, and we are as well, but we waiting for confirmation. But once I see that we left that liquidity, as you can see, I then re-looked at the chart, and I kept this on. And if I go to a 3-minute time frame as well, you can see it clearly. So it's the same thing, but it's just less candles. So we have a nice push up that's broken that structure there. And as we know, wicks are just order blocks on a lower time frame. So we have that wick, which is a 1 minute order block. And we came in. Now, as it's GU, I'm usually setting my entry at the EQ. So what that means is the halfway point of order blocks, just so we can, cover a decent stop size at that low. So 3 pips. And yeah, so once we left this liquidity, I replaced my order and I got tagged in on that candle there just about. I didn't think I got tagged into this one, but I did. And yeah, so I got tagged in there at the EQ of the last down close candle, which is there, and expecting this liquidity to be swept. And I'm going to manage on this time frame and understand that we are at an area where we're looking for overall sells. So we can still buy and just go off what price is telling us and then take it from there. So if I go through the trade, I'm looking for this liquidity here to be swept, okay? And you can see we see large momentum. Now we see this because price has a reason to go up into this area. Now I know we could still consider this a sell, but you need to understand liquidity. Like if you can't see liquidity, then you're going to take some unnecessary trades, and this just comes with experience, and I understand what price is doing. So you can see we pushed up, and at this point running around 9R. Now I moved my stop loss below this low here, and yeah, so we push back. At this point here, what I'm expecting is price to come back in to sort of this range, this consolidation range, and then potentially continue up from here. So if I put my stop loss below this level and we continue to see bullish order flow, it makes sense for price to come in and go from there again. But you see we push back a little bit, and I believe we then go up from here again, and we break structure at this point here. I'm at that low and looking to now manage aggressively. So I believe I think I moved it up to around this low here, or maybe even this low. I'm not too sure yet. I can't quite remember. But once we then pulled back, broke structure again, I want to be managing more aggressively because we are in this area. We did break above it, but we're still coming into this level as well. So I moved to that low at the exactly at the low for 13.1, and then get tagged out here. Tagged out there, and then I believe price then did pull down. We had a bit of imbalance on that candle there. Price came into that candle. Equal highs again, as you can see. People looking to sell. What's price going to do? Build liquidity and take liquidity, as you can see. So that was the trade. I'm just going to go back to the hourly quickly, and you can see we're in that area. We've taken liquidity from this high here. We've tapped into this area, and I'm not going to go through this trade in here, but I want to go through something else quickly. Because if we just take a look, zoom right in, price pushed up with this move here. We broke that high. We pulled back with these 2 candles, and then we broke that high again. So we put in a new higher high, and then we had a new higher low, which is here. So I'm just going to delete that off and mark on. Now I did put this in Discord that we could see an intraday sort of long opportunity from this area, and I know someone took it who I was speaking to, banked a lot of percentage, which is great. But we have that candle there, last down close candle before the up move, and price came in, as you can see. If I go to the 15, and let me just hide this, delete that off for a sec. Okay, so we came in, and 5 minute, what was it? Okay, so let's go to the 1 minute. Okay, so we came in. Now, as we know, once we come into a level, or demand level, the lower time frames are always going to be showing lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so we tapped in. Now, if I go back to the 15, we can refine it down to that candle. But really, if I didn't take this trade because I was in AU for the sells, but you can, if you want to, you can refine it down. But for me, I'd personally be just looking for longs in this entire area, dependent on market structure and its momentum. Okay, so at this point here, we have a lower low and we have a lower high up here. So we're still bearish at this point. We have a lower low and this little pullback, we broke structure. So you could be looking at that as an entry, with that candle there. But it comes to your own preference and what you consider to be an actual swing point. For me, this move from here to here is a swing point because you can see a clear pullback. That is definitely a bit of structure, but it comes down to your own sort of preference and waiting for, clear confirmation before, we get involved. So running it forward, we put in a new lower low, and then we have this as our swing point, which is, very clear to see. We then break structure. Okay, so you can see we break structure and we have this wick here. So what we can do is, now you could use this little candle here, but for me I'd be using the wick, or just that whole candle, and that would be my area where I'm looking to get long from. I wouldn't be looking, as this move is just one break of structure, I wouldn't be looking at that candle there. I always take, the extreme, as I've always said, unless it's, two separate breaks of structure, then I'll take the cleanest and the freshest structure break. Okay, so break of structure, we have confirmation that we're going to come back in, mitigate, continue. So we didn't get tagged in. Okay, so we got tagged in there, and believe we now go up from here. So what we've essentially had is this trade here, which is definitely, looking at it now, it is definitely valid, and it is probably something I would look at. It depends, in the moment, and how you're looking at the markets. But we do have an entry there, and you would have taken a loss because price did come down a bit lower. And one other thing to mention is we did come below this level, so the hourly. Now when we get this sort of a wick down below our level, it's nearly something, well, it's something that I almost prefer, because if anything, it's just seeking liquidity. It's not showing momentum, and it's just taking liquidity from that low before continuing. So when that happens, it's sort of a good sort of sign that you know, we've taken that liquidity and then we're going to push up from here. But obviously if it's breaking with momentum, then, you know, the shift, there's no shift in direction, and it's just going to continue more than likely. So we've got tagged in. Now at this point we can move up to a 5, and you can see we just push off. Do we have any continuations? Well, we break structure, we have a little consolidation there, we tap in, break structure again, we don't come back to the last down candle, we break structure again, we have a range, initiation out, mitigation, continuation. So that's an entry in there. Same thing here, breaker structure. So what's going to happen next? We come back down. Now we range here, break structure again, but we leave this bit of, you know, clear price action that was left unmitigated, and then we do go lower slightly, and we go long again. But if I go to, hold on, go to the hourly, depending how you manage, but you know, this obviously ran for 35, 40, what's that? Yeah, 40% if you're holding through this, and this is where price is now. So yeah, that's the trade. So we have an area here where we can sell from, clear supply. And the key tip is not getting too fixated on sells. Once we're at that area, we can still trade longs into the areas and then wait for price to give us that shift that it wants to now go down, because it hasn't got to sell off from this area. And if it doesn't, then we're in the buy trade, and we can potentially take it even higher and surpass this level, and then, you know, bank a lot of percentage. But yeah, I didn't take this trade because I was in AUs at the time on the sells, but I would have been looking at this if, you know, I wasn't in different trades. But yeah, that's going to be the video. Any questions, let me know, and have a good rest of your day.